welcome to another edition of the Litigation Psychology Podcast, brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. Dr. Bill Kanasky here with you. Valentine's Day special. Valentine's Day special. Actually, post Super Bowl Valentine's Day special. Now, at the time I'm recording this, I do not know the winner of the Super Bowl. That will be this weekend. I've got no dog in this fight. Two really good teams. The team I picked on this podcast did not deliver. The Buffalo Bills did not show up against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that wasn't even a game. And they were at home in a snowstorm. I mean, if you're Buffalo, you got home field advantage. You got a snowstorm. What more do you want? And they could not deliver. Bengals move on. Then Bengals could not beat KC. A lot of controversy in that game. People complaining about the refs. NFL's rigged is what I'm hearing. I don't know. But last year, you may remember my Valentine's Day rant. That got a lot of feedback, particularly from my female audience members and clients. I'm sorry. It's a Hallmark holiday. Well, first off, it's not a holiday. Let's get that straight. Valentine's Day is not a holiday. Last year, when I went on my Valentine's Day rant, I went through the history of Valentine's. Look it up. It's not a very positive thing. Okay? Very, very, very bad. It's a very, very negative holiday and what they did to people. And you need to go look that up. Okay? But if I'm just telling you right now, if you are the guy stopping by a Walgreens or even worse, a gas station to pick up that last minute gift, boy, I feel bad for you. Do something unique. Candy and flowers. Come on, folks. You can do better than that. And why is it one day a year you have to express your love and affection to that special someone? And the only reason you're doing it is because everybody else is doing it. Okay? There's no authenticity in this. It's a shame. It is a shame. And now society has the expectation. We're all supposed to go buy all these dumb gifts. And they're all the same. Roses. Box of candy. Ugh. Not really sure that's a positive thing. Given the diabetic health crisis in this country. Hey, go get your loved one a gym membership. See how that goes over. See, yeah, go to Academy Sports or Dick's Sporting Goods and say, honey, I love you. Here's a set of exercise bands and a gym membership. And I got a bag of oranges for you and some spinach because I love you and I want to make you healthy. I see that's love. That is what says love. What says love more than a nice container of nutrient-rich spinach? That's fantastic. See, that's a Kanasky Valentine's Day right there. Oh boy, hopefully that got some laughs. Hey, I gotta tell you a story because I got a really good topic for you today about jury selection. Because now everybody's going back to trial. And I got a little nugget for you. But I'm on vacation over the holidays, and we rent this house on a Big Bear Mountain. Now, Big Bear Mountain's about 2 hours, depending on traffic, from LA. So you fly LAX, and they have great ski resorts up there. And over the Christmas holiday, took my family up there, and beautiful views, great time, and great to unplug, unwind, get some good family time. And my son says, hey, did he's pouring himself like a glass of Gatorade or something, and he's like, this is warm, do we have any ice? And we're renting this house, right? So and this is an old school refrigerator. It doesn't have like the ice maker. I go check in the freezer. My son Dean. I said, Dean, check in the freezer. So he goes in the freezer, and and I'm on the couch in the living room, and he comes out and he goes, Dad, what is this? I've never seen one of these before in my life. And I look up and he's holding an ice tray. Let me repeat that. He's holding an ice tray. Now, this is a kid he's 14 years old. He's only grown up with refrigerators that have ice makers. He has he's looking like it's an alien spaceship. Because what is this? I go, well, it's an ice tray. Well, what do I do? I have to show the kid how to, you turn it sideways, right? You twist, you turn, it breaks up the ice, and then you put the ice in your drink. Like, well, I've never seen that before. God, I'm getting old. Kid he had no idea what an ice tray was. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Let's move on to our topic. Well, I hope at this point, this will be a Monday morning, so I hope you had a very safe Super Bowl Sunday. I hope you had fun. If your team is playing, hope they won. This Pro Bowl flag football game, I did not watch. Boycotting that. Embarrassingly bad NFL business right there. That's a whole nother rant and podcast. But then you got Valentine's Day tomorrow. So, boy, kind of a big week here. Let's talk about jury selection. There's better ways to ask questions in jury selection, particularly if you're a defense attorney. But this could work for plaintiff attorneys too. Okay. Plaintiff attorneys, I know that you listen, and I appreciate it. But there's some things on this podcast you can learn as well. This is just about being a better trial attorney. Okay. Yeah, we talk about a lot of defense topics here. That's mostly what I do. Do some plaintiff work, commercial litigation, folks. I got 2 big commercial cases right now on the plaintiff side. Boy, do I love it. But if you're a trial attorney, okay, and you're going to be in jury selection, this tip is awesome. It's amazing. I wrote a paper on this, okay, specifically on assessing juror sympathy. But you can do this with many other areas, okay? So for example, say that you are a defense attorney and you want to gauge anti-corporate attitudes, right? That's one of the main things you want to do. You're defending a corporation and you want to, during your voir dire, you want to assess jurors and their feelings towards corporations. Well, a lot of attorneys, defense attorneys will say, hey, does anybody here have, negative feelings towards corporations? You think they're greedy, they don't care about the environment, they're profit over safety, raise your hand. And that's been a tactic. That's a methodology that's been used for a long time. You get a couple people raise their hands. Okay, juror number 5. What's your issue with corporations? Why do you feel that way? Okay. That's a good way to do voir dire. It's a good way to do voir dire. But you got other people that aren't raising their hands. Why? Because there's a big difference. Now, this is the crux of this podcast between a dichotomous variable and a continuous variable. Now, this is research language I'm using. Okay. It's kind of 2 ways to measure something. Well, there's more than 2 ways, but these are the primary 2 ways. You have dichotomous variables. Yes or no, do you believe this? Right? You got 2 choices, true or false. Agreed to, raise your, who agrees that corporations are greedy? Raise your hand. That's a dichotomous variable where you're forcing your jurors into a 2-pronged decision. Okay. And again, that can work, and it has worked. There's a better way to do it, and that's the continuous variable. Okay. Meaning you're going to have more a rating system. I like the 0 to 10 scale. You can use this on any variable, but rather than saying, because you don't want people to hide. Okay. One of the main mistakes trial attorneys, both plaintiff and defense, make in jury selection is there's people out there that they're not calling on because they're not raising their hand. All right. Now, I understand you're in federal court, different ballgame. This may not apply to federal court because you have the time, but state court. Okay. But you can challenge people. Okay. And get out of this yes or no thing, this dichotomous variable, make them rate something on a continuous variable. And there's 2 steps to this. Okay. So you pick out a juror. Okay, this is not a hand raising thing. Okay, you pick out a juror. Maybe you start maybe with juror number 1, right? And you're going to work your way around if you have the time. And you say, juror number 1, on a scale of 0 to 10, what's your rating on how much you distrust corporations in general? 0 to 10. What's your rating? Okay. So now we're at a dichotomous. Now we're in continuous, which means we can measure the intensity of the variable. Okay. That's step 1. So you want to get them to give you a number between 0 and 10. Okay. Now, rule number 1, if anybody gives you a 0 or a 10, they're full of shit. They're lying. Too extreme, too absolute. Okay. So we're working on 1 to 9 here. Okay. So you get their number. Here's the next question. Okay. Say they give you a 6. Doesn't matter really what the number is. Okay, 6. Okay. Why are you a 6? And they're going to tell you their experiences, their beliefs, whatever. Okay. Now, here's the next question, and here's the key to all this. Okay. Why are you not an 8 or 9? You gave me 6. Why are you not an 8 or a 9? Explain that to me. Because now we're going to get to the heart of this decision. Okay. We're going to get to the heart of this decision. Then you follow up with that. Okay, well, how come you're not a 1 or a 2? See where I'm going with this, folks? Your job is to elicit information from the juror. And all this hand raising stuff kind of gets the ball rolling, but you need truthful, authentic answers here. And you got to get to the heart of it. And people don't like to talk. So you have to get them into this conversation. So it starts with the continuous variable, 0 to 10. They're going to give you a number. And then whatever that number is, you're going to follow up on that. Now, here's the trick. It doesn't matter where they go on the scale. So say somebody says, or say you reverse it, right? Say you're a plaintiff attorney. Okay, plaintiff attorney comes out and says, how much do you trust corporations on a 0 to 10 scale? And somebody comes out and they say, well, I'm an 8. Okay. A great follow-up question is, okay, you're an 8. Well, how come you're not a 10? Because you're 2 clicks off here from being a 10. What about your beliefs or experiences? What makes the difference between an 8 and a 10? Okay. Then you also follow up with that. Well, how come it's not a 4? What are your experiences and beliefs, right? So you're going to get the number. Here's the key to this. Okay. And if you want the paper, email me, bkanasky@courtroomsciences.com. And my paper is about assessing juror sympathy. But again, you can do this with any variable. Is you want to get the original number on the scale 0 to 10. And then you want to ask the 2 follow-up questions about why they are not higher or lower on the extremes. And that's when you're going to start getting some really authentic answers from them versus the yes or no, do you trust companies? Yes. Why do you trust companies? Oh, I've had a good experience. Okay, next juror. Well, I think that it doesn't get you very far, right? You need that detailed information on where are these views coming from. Positive experiences, bad experiences. Belief systems about how corporations do things, right? Okay. And you get that number. Now, here's the final part of this. This is a good part. If you get the number, okay, and it's a pretty extreme number, right? You're that, 8, 9, 10 or whatever. And that's something that you're looking for, right? You want extremists. People that say 5, they're middle of the road. You're setting up your cause challenge. Right? You're setting up your cause challenge. Because then you can tell the judge, Your Honor, I mean, on a scale of 0 to 10, I mean, they rated themselves an 8. Okay. That's a really, really good argument in front of the judge versus the yes or no, right, question. Less effective of an argument, less information, less rationale. Okay. So we want to attach these numbers to your cause challenge. All right. So let's go over that one more time. We're going to ask scale 0 to 10 on the variable that you're interested in, and that will change whether you use positive or negative, whether you're a plaintiff attorney, whether you're a defense attorney. You want to get that number. And then you want to say, well, how come that number's not higher? What is it about you? What is it about your experience? Okay. You're a 6. How come you're not an 8 or 9? How come you're not a 1 or a 2? Okay. That's a really good way to start that conversation with jurors. Make your voir dire better. Okay. It's not up in your grill. It's very conversational. Okay. But this does depend on how much time you have. If you're in state court and you got plenty of time and you got an important variable you need to measure, I think it's worth it going juror by juror. Okay. Now, as we know, if you have limited time or you're in federal court, this methodology may not work for you. But in a lot of state courts, it will. So I've had my clients both on these defense cases, also in the plaintiff cases for commercial litigation, use this tactic very, very effectively. Okay, use this tactic very, very effectively. And again, it's about getting quality information from the jurors that allows you to assess your jurors more accurately. And that's really what that's really, really what we're doing here, particularly now, post-COVID. A lot of people have changed. People do have a shorter fuse. The world's changed a lot. Lots changed the last 3 years, right? And getting a sense of how things have changed in their lives is really important. And this is a really, really effective methodology. So using that continuous variable, get a rating. Now, technically, you could use, 0 through 5 or whatever. But I like the 0 through 10. Everybody knows what that is. Okay. Everybody knows what that is. It's easy to follow along. And people, you force them to give you a number, then they got to justify the number. If they just give you a yes or no, okay, the burden of justification on them is not very high. And you want to get to the why. Now that we're going back to trials a lot more, because I'm getting a lot of calls on jury selection, everybody's kind of rusty, everybody, defense attorneys, plaintiff attorneys. And things have changed. And so putting some more time and thought into your voir dire plan should be strategic, right? We talked about this before. How much are you assessing versus indoctrinating? Okay. Now, depending on your judge, you may get a little slap on the wrist there if you're indoctrinating too much. But you better, particularly if your adversary is, okay, particularly on issues like damages, you better indoctrinate. Okay. As well as assess. If you do too much of either, you're going to be in trouble. If you assess too much, that's great. You have great assessment, but you're not planting your seeds about your case. And you're going to be starting off coming from behind. But if you're planting too many seeds and you're not assessing, A, judge gets pissed at you, probably. And B, you haven't assessed enough. So your strikes aren't as effective as they could or should be. Okay. All right. So that's today's podcast. Voir dire. I think that's a really good tip for both plaintiff and defense attorneys, using that continuous variable. I think you're going to get better information, get more information. Okay. And then challenge them on that number. How come you're not higher? How come you're not lower? And then they will start to express those feelings to you. And that's what you want. That's really, really what you want. Anyway, I got some more really good podcasts coming up for you guys. Couple of brief updates. Work very, very busy. A lot of witness training going on, and simultaneously, a lot of early focus groups. Okay. Taking a page out of the plaintiff book. Hey, hats off to the plaintiff's bar. They do a lot of jury research and they do it early. Why? They're smart. Say what you want. They are smart. They get answers early, and knowledge is power. Okay. Knowledge is power. A lot of my defense clients, because I've been preaching this for years, have finally gotten on board, and now they're doing their jury research. A, they're doing it, which is a huge step. B, they're doing it early. Because the earlier you have that information on how jurors feel about liability, causation, damages, you make better decisions on that file. You make better decisions on that case. It can guide your discovery. Okay. It can help with the preparation of your experts or how to attack the other side's experts. Okay. So both plaintiff and defense attorneys can both use these focus groups early. Plaintiff's been doing it a long time. They got a good system. Defense starting to do it. So I like it. I like what I see. Early research, early knowledge, better decisions. Okay. I love it. Litigation Psychology Podcast. This is Dr. Bill Kanasky. We'll see you next time.